the students finally cracked me because they kept asking me to read, and I said, no, I'm an official here, I'm professional, I shouldn't be, And then finally they got me for Kwanzaa Ball, and now it's like everyone's like, oh, you should read. And so the one woman who got me for Kwanzaa Ball came up to me yesterday and said, see, it's not fair, we started this. And I said, yeah, they should thank you for it, I guess. But yeah, so this piece is called Where Is Your Husband? And it's published in this really amazing anthology for women called Writing Fire, an anthology celebrating the power of women's words. It's got some really good pieces in here, but this is my latest piece. I think the last year, yeah. Hello. My name is Ajo. I am 39. I am single. I am independent. I am African. Given the right combination of factors, I am happy most of the time. Some days I wish there was a support group for people like me. Sometimes it is the sheer lack of our visibility that throws me into depression. I know we are out there, but because we don't see each other, perhaps we cave and join the married forces, only to launch ourselves into permanent unhappiness. Over the years, I have come to believe that marriage is not for everyone, but it takes great courage to go against the grain. There are many theories as to why women like me exist. I'm smart, highly educated, beautiful, sexy, and a great cook. Also type A, neat freak, no nonsense, impatient, brutally honest, unmarried, and childless by choice. They say we had strong female figures in our lives who overshadowed the male figures. They say we are jaded because some guy in our past duped us. They say we are apuskeleke, women who just want to sleep around. They say we would grow out of our flawed thinking that marriage is not for us. They say we hate men. They say we are lesbians. The list goes on. Don't get me wrong. I too wonder sometimes, had my parents stayed together and been the loving couple they had started out being, would I also want a marriage? Had I not been sexually molested at 7, would I claim sexual fluidity? It was difficult to see everyone pairing off in their 20s and wonder if all was well with me. It became more concerning to others when I hit 30 and kept going, and still showed no signs of pairing off. Once I hit 35, I stopped worrying about what other people thought, although I still questioned whether marriage was for me. The following is my story of exploration, in spite of all the pressures and social commentary. Come along with me as I share an atypical African woman's journey to sexual emancipation. I tell my story in vignettes around a handful of the partners I have experienced since I immigrated to the United States 20 years ago. The fact that living in the West allows me the flexibility to do some of this exploration is not lost on me. However, I believe stories like mine are more common than we think. It's just that the traditional African cultural mores keep women from sharing. In Ghana, I grew up with my maternal grandmother, who wouldn't let me have boys over at our house for fear of putting ideas in my head. Having survived her own 2 failed marriages, she preached the gospel about the dangers of men and boys. My father used his visitations to give us advice on various life issues, which almost always meant boys. My grandmother and father believed that boys were the downfall of the female, especially beautiful mixed-race ones like my sister and me. For this reason, I kept my relationship with my first boyfriend a secret. I felt grandmother would smell it if I so much as swapped saliva with him. Our 4-year relationship consisted of writing letters during study hall, stealing long hugs at peacetime during mass, sitting next to each other during youth group meetings, and acting in church plays as husband and wife. After my family immigrated to the United States, we dated long distance for a year. But it was not long before I realized that this move was permanent and that I needed to move on. I wrote him a letter. Dearest Kwakubi, you know I love you and miss you dearly, but Mother says our family is going to be permanently settled in New Jersey, so I won't be returning to Ghana. I think we should break up so you can move on. Besides, I've met someone, and even though I'm a bit disappointed, he's not African, he's black, and Mother approves. Remember, you will always be my first love. Ajo. His response was crushing. He accused me of cheating and lying to him. I decided to ignore him and move on. God knew I was still a good Catholic virgin at 20. If he didn't believe me, there wasn't much else I could do. Plus, there was Boris. Boris was from Barbados. And with his smile, tall and solid stature, coffee bean skin tone, and Caribbean accent, I was so in love, nothing could perturb me. Fast forward 6 years. What do you mean you're not ready for marriage? I yelled at Boris. Ajo, please understand me. I winced. After 6 years, he still hadn't learned where to put the inflection on my name. Was this the man I really wanted to marry? I don't think we're ready for this sort of commitment, Boris added. Are you for real? You mean we've been shacking up for a year and now you've got what you wanted, so you don't want to be married? After 5 years of being with him, I had felt comfortable and assured enough to relinquish my virginity, which I had been taught to guard with precision. I was sure his ambivalence had to do with me giving it up before marriage. As the tears rolled in my eyes, we held each other and cried for a long while, knowing we weren't about to plan that Atlantis wedding our mothers had been talking about. When after 6 years the long-awaited marriage proposal didn't come, I was plunged into the depths of depression. I'd been groomed for 18 years in a society that had set times within which to accomplish certain goals. Key among these was marriage, and I felt lost. In hindsight, the absence of a proposal was the best thing that happened to me. I rushed up to study in Haiti, Morocco, and Egypt, all within a year of my breakup. Places I would never have explored had I gotten married. In all these countries, the men adored me because I was the color of Coca-Cola. After 10 years of going steady, I allowed myself the luxury of flirting and basking in all the attention. Amid daily wooing and marriage proposals, which were addressed to my study abroad director, I came into my own female power. I'm done with Ghanaian men. Oh, that's it. That's it, I said, referring to my latest breakup. I looked over at my new friend for his response. Brown skin, curly locks of brown hair that was a texture in a class all its own. What did you say your name was? I didn't, he replied, smiling so broadly I knew something was up. My name is Nana Sai, and I am half Ghanaian. Does that disqualify me? Talk about open mouth, insert foot, and start chewing. I'm sure my chocolate skin did overtime covering the deep blushing red that was threatening to change my skin tones. I'd been having such a great time chatting with him until the subject. I had dated about 6 men in succession, some simultaneously. Within a year, I had a lot of hurt men in my wake. It's okay, he said, reaching over to squeeze my hand, which were performing multiple ringing motions in my lap. I was mortified, but I managed to survive through to a marriage proposal that came 4 years down the line. When he asked me to marry him, I jumped at it. It was time to settle down. After all, I was turning 30 in a couple months, and the pressure was building. We had the traditional meeting of family, sat down, split cola, after which I spent a few days trying to convince myself that this is what I really wanted. Then I panicked and took the first flight I could find to the Caribbean, turning off my phone and creating a monster of a man who lashed out repeatedly. He talks to me now though. In St. Martin, I fell in love with an incredible Hulk who swept me off my feet with his rendition of "You Are My African Queen." He treated me like a queen for 10 days. A fine man, he stood tall at 6'2", with about 200 pounds of muscle, and had skin the shade of dark chocolate. In a matter of a fortnight, I had garnered another marriage proposal. I boarded my flight back to the US and signed on to an online dating site. This time in the women seeking women section. 2 marriage proposals later, and still single, there was something else calling for attention. Besides, I had dated a woman before. She and I were each other's first. In college, we had been more like acquaintances than bosom buddies. That is, until my final year, when our friendship blossomed. After grad school, I finally got the guts to kiss her one morning while I was visiting. It was so different from kissing boys. Something inside me responded. When she kissed me back, I knew I had to explore this other side of me. Things changed when she panicked and decided it had been just an experiment. We both returned to men, then got back together, pledged a commitment, after which she cheated, then worried I might find out, left in the middle of the night while we were on vacation. Head over heels with her, I didn't see this coming. She was gorgeous, tall and slender, and had skin crisscrossed with green veins. She was Icelandic. I came out to my mother the day she left me. The eventual demise of this trial and error first lesbian relationship left me brokenhearted for a while. However, it pushed me to explore my sexuality even more broadly. So after Nana Say, after St. Martin, I logged in confidently to an online dating forum, creating a profile that was eye-catching. If I wasn't going to be married at 30, I might as well check out this other side of me. Fast forward to a couple years later. I moved to Portland to do my postdoc, and after a year of not meeting anyone, I decided to go back online. Intrigued by a new possibility, I met Zura. We talked for 12 hours on our first date. We had so much in common. We read to each other in bed, finished lines of poetry for each other. She was a great sous chef, and we used to churn out elaborate African meals together. You see, Zura is African, which was a bonus for my family. My relationship with her is still the longest lesbian relationship I've had in the 10 years since I started dating women. Having her in my life gave me the courage to come out to the rest of my nuclear family. Of course, it's taking more than 4 years for most of them to stop asking me about men and marriage. A year after my breakup with Zura, I decided to visit my mom. I hadn't been home in a while. Mom had visited us in our home twice and had totally fallen in love with Zura. Wary that my mother would chastise me for causing the breakup, I had stayed away for a while. It was Labor Day weekend at Newark, New Jersey, decided to throw me a barbecue in her backyard. A number of immigrants had gathered to join her. Ah, Ajo, are there no African men in Potsdam? One woman asked. Do you not have time in your postdoc? You must make time, oh. Another one admonishes. The books, they won't keep you warm at night or take care of you in the old age. You know you aren't getting any younger. 39. Those like the white people influence your thinking. Oh. We are very different from them. We are Africans. Sometimes even the men chimed in. Although we are in diaspora, everyone older than you must be addressed as brother, sister, auntie, or uncle, following the traditions of the continent. They feel these titles give them the right to weigh in on your life choices, comment on why you're not married, or why you ought to begin popping out kids. You should at least have one child, says mom's neighbor, who seems to have now given up on my ever getting married. Don't tell her that, retorts my biological aunt. Turning to me, I will fast for your marriage proposal. Next year by this time we will have your engagement, she declares, her multiple rows of midriff fat jiggling. She is probably shuddering at the thought of the past. I chuckle out loud, forgetting myself and my manners. Oh, you don't want to get married? She asked in my mother tongue, her use of which indicates her displeasure that I am laughing at such a serious matter. I quickly adjust my face, apologize, and answer in the affirmative. Who am I to tell her I am not really interested in marriage? That honestly speaking, I can't bear the thought of living the rest of my life attached to a man. That I love my freedom too much to want to settle down with a husband and have some kids. That I couldn't begin to tell her about all the people I've been with and how they have bequeathed me with a panoramic view of sexuality. Have failed multiple times at marriage doesn't mean that we, their offspring, won't be the success story. Even though the marrying age for women is shifting every day, especially in the Western world, African women are not being encouraged to partake in this luxury. They're not being encouraged to wait until they know themselves or have attained a certain level of education or can be a true partner in a relationship, or fill in the blank. The African woman in the diaspora needs to create a new world order that has a healthy balance of tradition, self-determination, and actualization. Being in the diaspora means new rules or relaxed old order rules. Being here makes room for a certain flexibility around traditions surrounding marriage. There's still little room in this paradigm to shirk marriage completely, perform gender differently, or worse yet, be of a different sexual orientation. But that's a thesis for another day. I focused on key partners who have created some turning points in my life, of men and women who have shaped the making of a sexually emancipated Ajo. I am staring the big 4-0 in the face as I write, and even though some of my family is still very concerned, I might say I have never before felt so liberated. Thanks for coming along on this journey. I hope my story has inspired you to reflect on your own odyssey of sexual emancipation or the societal pressures that are preventing you from getting there. I hope that whatever your history, you will be able to ask the next woman you meet the question, what makes you tick? Rather than the standard one, where is your husband?